Hi everyone! So this isn't a video I planned to make, but I saw these markers and couldn't help but try them out. I made a video about Ikea Måla paints some time ago, which I thought were acrylic paints, but it turned out they're not because they are reactivated with water. But this time I'm testing the cheap €2 or $2 Ikea Måla felt tips. So we were at the summer cottage. I was working remotely from there for a day or two, and my mum had brought these Ikea markers for my 4-year-old niece. And in the evening we were following this bird couple who were clearly feeding their offspring in the gutter above the balcony, and they would get worms and catch flies or mosquitoes sitting on the nearby trees and then fly back to the nest that we couldn't see from the balcony. We were trying to figure out what species these birds were, and I needed to sketch one of them quickly and grabbed one of the Ikea markers. And after that I just couldn't stop. I started sketching a bunch of things with them. And by the way, the bird was a spotted flycatcher, if I remember correctly. The next evening, the lake was calm, the sun was about to set. I had made those sketches for painting and pattern ideas the previous evening and thought I might continue them a bit and film it, so that's how this video came about. I hadn't done my nails, so they look awful, sorry for that. The setting sun was glaring, which I didn't notice till editing this video. And I also turned this into a lo-fi ASMR video, since I only had the audio from the camera mic and not the mic I otherwise use, since I wasn't planning on filming an ASMR video that trip. So the first sketch I continued was a view of the forest across the lake. It's more of an idea for a painting than a pattern, but it could be used for a repeating pattern idea too, if the water on the bottom and the sky on top were the same color and the sides would fade into a darker green or something. The next sketch was for a painted repeating pattern idea. If you've ever seen those wallpapers with different kinds of brush strokes, that's something I'd like to try, and it would be a simple enough real-time painting video for my ASMR channel too. So this is a set of 12 markers. There's also a version with 24 markers that costs €3. The tips are shaped so that you can draw a thin, fine line with them, or you can tilt the marker to get a thicker line and cover a larger area faster. I was using just normal thin copy paper for these sketches, and the marker does bleed through and the paper gets a bit wrinkled. But since I was just sketching down ideas so I wouldn't forget them, I didn't mind and didn't want to waste nicer paper on them. I'm not even sure if I had thicker paper with me. I have since tried it on 90 GSM sketching paper and it does bleed through that a bit too, so I tend to keep a piece of scrap paper underneath to prevent them from messing up the next sheet of paper in the paper block or sketchbook. The caps of the markers would constantly fall off when I placed them on the other end of the marker. One time one of the caps fell through the terrace floor and I was crawling on the ground and fishing it out with a rake. I kind of wish I'd filmed that part, but I didn't. You can probably see that they kept falling off throughout the video though, until I learned to put the cap somewhere else while using the marker. But anyway, if the cap fits the other end, why was it designed in a way that it falls off? I love the kinds of paintings with a tree and lots of birds in it, so the next idea was for that. There are a few different kinds of birds and bird nests, and realistically they're too close to each other, but it looks cute that way. It might also work as a pattern if the tree trunk is the same width on the top and bottom. And then there's one with a dragonfly and water lilies. I also had the idea of making a pattern with colorful fruit and sketched down some fruit I could include in the pattern, and the markers actually worked really well for that. So I ended up keeping these markers for a while longer and making the final pattern with them too. But that's for another video. Thanks for watching, bye!